When I was a wee lass, competing with my brother meant fighting to see who could get to the remote control first. Well, actually, we still do that. But for some of us, as we get older, the phrase sibling rivalry takes on a whole new meaning. From battling biblical brothers Cain and Abel to the rock star fallouts of the Gallaghers, sibling rivalry is almost part of our DNA. The Miller bands might have brought brotherly competition into the public spotlight, but they're not the only ones who've been fighting for votes recently. These two have been going at it hammer and tongs in their own family election battle. In the red corner is the new Labour councillor for King's Standing, Des Hughes, and in the blue corner, the new Conservative councillor for Streatley, Des's younger brother, Eddie.
I can't understand why the son of a bus driver has gone off and campaigned for Tory party policies. It's beyond me.
Conservatives are an aspirational party for those people who want to do better for themselves, and that's how it ended up.
They're only an aspirational party for people who look after themselves.
Des doesn't quite understand what it is that we're campaigning for.
Lower inheritance taxes for the 3,000 richest families in the country. It's scrapping the child benefit tax.
And it's this sort of thing that meant that when it came to the election, I was happy or prepared to go out and deliver leaflets for the opposition.
Have you always been this competitive?
It's not a question of being competitive. Des was my oldest brother. I looked up to him until I got to about 16. I was able to start genuinely think for myself, disagree with him, and I was big enough for him to not beat me up anymore.
I think it's just an inclination to rebel against
I looked up to you,
your superiors.
I didn't want to disagree, and then I started to realise just how wrong you were.
A recent survey suggests that more than a third of us have a distant relationship with our brothers or sisters because of a childhood rivalry. So why is it so rooted in our nature?
Sibling rivalry comes partly from our genes, from nature, and also partly from the environments we're brought up in. In the animal kingdom, for example, it's not uncommon for siblings to kill each other because they're competing for food, and among humans it's less fierce. It can be fighting, it can be bitching, it can be arguing. We want all the love, all the attention, all the affection that our parents have to give, and we don't want to share it.
Going for that top job not only splits siblings but can also divide family loyalties. Imagine what poor old mum has to cope with. Meet Martha Ross. She's the proud mum to 6 children and is something of an expert in brotherly competition. That's because 2 of her sons are none other than TV presenters Jonathan and Paul Ross.
I wouldn't say between Paul and Jonathan it was rivalry. They were competitive, quite rightly so. I mean, because they were both going more or less for the same sort of work at one time. The great thing was when it was the film job was coming up, you know.
Good evening and welcome to Film 99. You stay there and I'll go and get the popcorn.
And Paul must have felt it a little bit because we all felt it. It was like, oh no, what the best job in television, and Jonathan's got it.
What advice would you give to Mum Miliband?
She must be exceedingly proud that her 2 sons are where they are. I think she would just be relieved that whoever gets the job will do the job properly. And also, it's quite nice to have a backup there with your brother. If you make a little mistake, he's the first one that's going to tell you, because that's what brothers do, don't they?